A good afternoon from what is a very dreary, very kind of wet, drizzly Manchester this afternoon, but warm, so it's really humid. It's a dreadful day. Just returned from a couple of days away down in Shakespeare country, Stratford upon Avon, where you can see William Shakespeare's house if you're that way inclined. But a beautiful couple of days, really nice weather down there, and a beautiful place to spend some time should you ever get around there, or indeed ever get to Britain. What I want to talk about today is what everybody's heard about, I'm assuming, regarding the attack on people in the gay village in Birmingham. For those outside the UK, Birmingham is Britain's second largest city. Manchester is a close third. And a couple of nights ago, an attack was made on a total of 8 people. One is now sadly dead. There's 2 others who are still critically ill, and the others, no great news about them. So hopefully, we're assuming that their injury was not too serious, and either has been or is continually receiving treatment. This was carried out by someone who apparently cannot be named right now by police, and we can, as people who view these situations, make assumptions about what the person was who committed this dreadful act. If there is an image freely available caught by a CCTV camera of the suspect, and that is now finding itself on many videos around the world on YouTube, so you may or may not have already seen it. Now the issue here is all major cities now tend to have a gay area. We here in Manchester have our own gay village, and I will say right here, it is one of the most lovely, well-attended, judgment-free areas in Manchester. Manchester these days is a very cosmopolitan city. Lots and lots of hotel rooms, lots and lots of bars, and all kinds of different bars and venues that, no matter kind of where your interest lies, there will be something for you. The gay village in Manchester runs a place called Canal Street, as the name might suggest. It runs parallel to one of the main canals that used to be used going through Manchester, between Manchester and Liverpool. And especially on summer evenings, where the weather's warm and balmy and not a cloud in the sky, you'll find lots and lots of people in there, hundreds, both in the bars and outside, sat on Canal Street. As I said before, there is no hassle, there is generally no violence, and there is certainly no judgment on anyone, no matter what their orientation is. Now, supposition comes this way. The West Midlands Police made a statement very quickly once this issue came to the fore, which was, this is not a hate crime. Now, stabbing anybody is not a love crime. It just doesn't sound right in any way, shape or form. The term itself, hate crime, now has new connotations in this world of ours, and you can perhaps start putting 2 and 2 together, where somebody who would go into an area of a city, which I can only assume is very much like the gay village here in Manchester, as I've already said, a very peaceful, great place to go out drinking with your mates. Even if you're straight, it's a great place to go. It is a place where no hassle tends to happen, and most people are very open to anyone to go drinking there. Now, the question is, why Would someone go with a knife with the intention of hurting or killing people who were attending that particular area? Now, we're all very well aware that one of the things that our friends of the religion of peace persuasion do not like in any way, shape or form are homosexuals. In Muslim countries, they are seen and known to throw homosexuals off towers so they fall to their deaths. Now, I'm not saying in any way, shape or form that the attacker in Birmingham was of this belief system, but I think it's something that does have to be considered. Now, the problem is, on a wider scale, is that as we in Britain are experiencing at the moment a flood of illegal migrants who are making it in across the Channel, which is the busiest sea lane in the world. They are leaving France after having paid traffic masters to supply them with an inflatable boat with an outboard motor on there, and it's massively overpopulated on board these little boats, and they go across the Channel and land on the most deserted southern British beaches they can find. Now, the problem is at the moment there is an agreement between the UK government and the French government, and we are paying money to the French to stop this happening. But my opinion is that the French are just basically taking the money and doing very, very little. In fact, their navy are safely escorting these inflatable boats to the halfway point, and once they leave French territorial waters, they ensure that they get beyond the point where the British-English border is on the Channel, and then it becomes apparently the responsibility of the Royal National Lifeboat Institute and indeed the Royal Navy to escort them safely to southern beaches, and from there they are taken to assessment centres, and from there they are housed in 4-star hotels, 3 meals a day, no doubt given clothes and laundry and everything else, paid for from government funds, which of course all comes from taxation from people like me and everybody else who has paid their taxes over the last few years. Now, the problem is, of course, is that a lot of these are just not registered because they're not supposed to be here, or indeed in France. And you have a lot of people who are calling these illegal immigrants refugees. Well, they're not refugees. The international treaty basically saying that you're only a refugee if you're leaving a war zone or some form of oppressive dictatorship, and you should then, as you leave your country where you're being shot at or whatever, you should stay in the first safe country you come to. Now, you have to get through a fair number of countries going across continental Europe before you reach coastal France to break it across the Channel to us. But nevertheless, this is happening. Now, the problem is there, of course, is that once they are housed in these 4-star hotels that most normal people couldn't afford to stay in, by the by, they are then seen in local towns and cities wandering around as they're given spending money to go into town with. Now, of course, what could happen at that point, they could just disappear into the ether. And as they're not registered, they will probably either resort to crime or come under the auspices of some of the local slave runners, as it were, who run manufacturing businesses or car washes or whatever, and be paid far, far less than the legal minimum pay, and they're kept in situations which is no better than the old slavers were in the 17th and 18th century. They live and work in very, very poor conditions. Now, that is distasteful in anybody's book who is of a civilized mind. However, the question has to be asked, what happens to those that don't end up there? Those that end up in the criminal fraternity, and those that feel as though they can take it upon themselves to follow a certain religious edict where there is a set of people who in their eyes do not deserve to live. And attacks can be made in any one of a number of sections of different countries around Great Britain. I am sure that all major cities up and down the British Isles have recognised gay villages. So therefore it wouldn't be very, very difficult for those of a mind to do so, to find these areas, and on a busy night where certainly going from Manchester it's very, very hard to move around, and go into a bar and get to the bar and have a drink and then go out back outside and have a nice pint in the lovely evening air. Now the problem is with that is that once you've got tightly packed people, it is very, very easy to go through. You are just assuming that they are all gay, because obviously you don't carry a sign with you, and attack anybody in relatively anonymity. And then once you've carried out whatever deed it is that you wanted to carry out, then you can disappear through the crowd and off and away. Now, I don't really know what we as a society can do about that. I suppose the answer is very little. All that you can do is hope that now that they have a CCTV image, they will track this person down. I believe that they have a person in custody. Needless to say, they are not releasing a name, his place of origin, or indeed what his religious beliefs may or may not be. So we'll have to see what happens over the next few days. So I suppose where I'm going with this is trying to find out from you what we do about this. And well, as far as Britain is concerned, my opinion basically has to be is that the agreement that we have with France has to be enforced. I don't know how the government are doing that, because they don't seem to be of any great will to do anything about it at the moment, because we still have the Brexit negotiations going on right now. So I understand that the government are quite busy right now. Again, but having said that, we cannot allow all of these people to carry on coming in. To give you an idea of the poor response of the government, I think it was the week before last, 409 illegal immigrants came in on that week. And our Home Secretary, a lady called Priti Patel, made a proud announcement on Twitter, and I'm sure to the news media, that they had shipped out on board a plane back to France 11 people from 409. Now you've got to ask, why is that so low? I am sure that the other 300 odd didn't have paperwork saying that they were entitled to be here. So you've got to ask why it is that our government, who are supposed to be protecting the home nations, are not doing more to ship back those that are not allowed to be here and shouldn't be allowed to be here, and why are they not enforcing the agreement with France? So really where I want to go with this is just to ask you what your feelings are, whether you're elsewhere in Britain, if you're maybe on the south coast here in Britain and you're actually seeing in the cold light of day what is actually going on there. If you're anywhere else, if you're in France and you're seeing these people coming through your country, potentially committing criminal acts to support themselves as they travel through your country to get to northern French beaches to get to Britain, is that happening? Let me know if this is happening anywhere else. I know that in Australia, many moons ago, Tony Abbott, your ex-Prime Minister, had a radical plan to stop illegals coming into Australia. Let me know what you think we should do as Britain to actually allow us to stop these people coming in the same way as they came and went and stopped in Australia. So that's it for now, people. I think there are so many things in the world right now that need addressing. Yet again, here in Britain, we have Extinction Rebellion causing major problems for London. I have no doubt we will see it in Manchester at some point very soon. We have Black Lives Matter causing major problems yet again, marching, and one of their leaders, a lady called Sasha Johnson, who I had an interaction with on Twitter, shall we say, who has very radical views regarding the whites in Britain and the black people's place in Britain and what they believe it should be. So there's lots and lots of things going on in the world, as I think I said in my last video. But for this one, it's things that are circling around this vicious attack in Birmingham where 8 people were injured, 1 is dead, and 2 are on critical care. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know whether it's ever happened in your country. Well, let me know whether you're actually down on the south coast and you're actually seeing this live and in person. Let me know what's going on in the world of illegal immigrants. Obviously in America you've got them coming across from Mexico into the southern states. I mean, it's very hard to police, and it is always going to be a very divisive thing where you will always have those who believe that they have the right to be here. And I don't really know how you counter that, because the government in any first world country, the first thing that any government of a first world country should be doing is looking after its indigenous peoples, not the ones that are coming in illegally. There are proper channels for them to do that. So that's it for this one, people. I hope you're all very well, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.